सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. Finally, we are done with section 16. It took a very, very long time, but we are done with that. And section 17 and section 16 was also complicated because it was divided into many, many subsections. But this one, from what I can see, is just 50 verses on the nature of the Atma. And it is called Niranjana Panchashatkam. Panchashat means 50. Panchashatkam means that which has 50 something verses here. That which has 50 verses. And so 50 verses on what? That which is called Niranjana. Anjana means a kind of a mark, a stain is called Anjana. And something which is sticky, like an ointment, is also called Anjana. Okay. So Niranjana means that which is Asanga, uninvolved. Uninvolved and is not sticky, does not stick anywhere, and is able to be in its own glory. It is the sticky means not dependent on anything and independent of everything, and that is what is called Niranjana. So, Niranjana means that it is a word by negation. And generally we have two kinds of words to look at and think about the Atma, to understand the Atma. One is like Nitya, Shashvata, unchanging, everlasting, and all these. These are all what we call the positive definitions, because here there is no negation involved. They are all positive definitions, and then there is also place in the Shastra for the negative definitions. Why? Because after all, the avidya is the word avidya itself is negative, opposite of vidya, and so avidya nirasanam, to remove avidya. Removing avidya means showing what the Atma is not, is equally important, or in fact more important than showing what the Atma is. Because Atma is being yourself, it shines as it is. It doesn't have to be shown really. In fact, when like we take a tarnished copper pot, a copper pot that has been sitting in the air outside for too long, it looks dark brown. It looks as though it is made of some kind of teak wood. It doesn't look like copper at all. Then there is a slight doubt, because there is one portion that was away from the sun and the air and everything, and that portion is shining a little bit. So what do? You take some tamarind and you nicely wash the pot with tamarind, and lo and behold, it shines. The copper pot does not need to be told, oh, you're a copper pot, let me give you some shining lessons. Shining 101. Nobody needs to do that for the copper pot. Shining 101, this is how you shine. No, it knows how to shine. In fact, the shine is its very, very nature. It doesn't need to be told how to shine. Because the shining, the word shine, even though it's technically speaking a dhatu, a verb, but it has nothing to do with action. Nothing to do with action at all. So, it has nothing to do with action. It has more to do with its own nature. Like even in the sentence, the sun is shining. If you have the sentence, the sun is shining, and it's not that the sun is, saying, okay, how many volts of and jolts of electricity I need to power the whole Jagat. It is not thinking like that. And this whole earth, how much I need. Oh, nobody appreciates me, and nobody gives anything back. Nobody is paying the original electricity bill. Nobody is paying. And I have to shine for free. Everybody is taking advantage. Everybody plugs in, and one person says solar, and then this, and they do all this, and all the kinds of, they are harnessing my energy. It is because it doesn't have these problems. Why? Because shining is not an effort. Shining is its very own nature. Just like the Atma here, the shining is the nature of the Atma. The nature of the Atma is to shine, which is why we have, what do we have? We have the expression self-effulgent Atma. Self-effulgent Atma, its nature is to shine. That's why when I ask the question, you hear what answer comes. I'll think about it. No, nobody says that. I'll ask somebody else. No, nobody says that either. I'll ask you, do you think I'm here? Nobody asks the questioner, which shows us a very, very important detail, a very important truth about the Atma. And what is that truth? That truth is the is that the Atma is present, ever existent. There are many existent things, but just because they are existent doesn't mean that they can broadcast themselves. But the Atma is not only existent, but it is self-existent, meaning it can broadcast its own presence. You are the only thing in the whole entire universe that can broadcast the presence. No other object has the distinction of being able to broadcast its presence. And so, therefore, what? Therefore, this is something which is very, very special. And so, Atma Vidya, the teaching has to follow a two-pronged approach. It is extremely important to say what the Atma is, but since the Atma is self-effulgent, since you already know you exist, so therefore it is equally important to say what the Atma is not. Why? Because that which the Atma is not is confused for what it is. That is the problem. That is why Niranjana Panchashatkam, that is what it is. And so Niranjana means that which is never stained by anything. So what can the Atma be stained by or marked by? For example, like you're wearing a shirt and then you're, now this is mango season in India and you're very happy to eat the mangoes quickly. And then you just get that. And then the mangoes are, mango eating is a messy affair. And soon the shirt becomes one with the mango. And if you don't wash it immediately, you become a partial sannyasi because you have orange, orange stains over the shirt. They lighten with the wash, but then they don't quite go away if you don't wash it quickly. Okay, and so this is called Anjana. Niranjana means no matter how many mangoes you eat, the shirt may be stained, the Atma is free of all stains. Atma is not affected at all. That is the idea. That is why the word Niranjana, even though it is a negative definition of Atma, just like Aklebhyah, Ashochyah, and then like all these things. The negation is important because na iti, na iti, na iti, not this, not this, not this, not in this manner. Why? Because the not I becomes the I. Anatma becomes I, Anjana becomes I, and that's why one says, I am doomed. I am as good as the body, I'm as good as the mind, I'm as good as the senses, I'm as good as what I have, I'm as good as what I don't have. How can you be as good as what you don't have? That's how people define themselves. I am poor means I don't have. I am bald. I'm a bunch of non-existent hair. This is the same definition, and so therefore, this section is got a very interesting refrain. Atma Shuddho Niranjanaha. That is the refrain. So both together, the two words come. The first word is Shuddha. Shuddha means pure, pure, and that is a positive way of saying it is not mixed up with anything. But since I take myself to be the sum total of all mix-ups, then the word Niranjana, negating any kind of Anjana for the Atma, is also deployed, showing in the refrain, in the chorus itself, that this two-pronged approach. Iti, it is this. So that is the first thing that is there, Shuddha, and then Niranjanaha. So it has, the writer, Narahari, has a lot of leeway here to do all kinds of things. And he's on a roll, as we will find out. Let us read. Niranjana Panchashatkam. यत्र प्रमाणं वेदान्त अनुभूतिस्तथा सता यत्र प्रमाणं वेदान्त अनुभूतिस्तथा सता देवो निरञ्जनः सोऽयं बोधसारे निरूप्यते देवो निरञ्जनः सोऽयं bodhasare nirupyate. So first we catch hold of the dhatu, the verb. Nirupyate, passive usage. It is unfolded. What is unfolded? We will see. The question then is, where is it unfolded? It is unfolded. Atma, obviously, but we'll see that grammatically also. It is unfolded. Where is it unfolded? Bodhasare, seventh case. In the Bodhasara, nirupyate, it is unfolded. What is unfolded? Devaha, Niranjanaha. These two words are in apposition. Devaha, Niranjanaha, Saha, Ayam, Soyam, Saha, Ayam. So not Soham here, Soyam. Okay. Saha, Ayam, Ayam Devaha, Ayam Niranjanaha, Saha, Bodhasare, Nirupyate. Ayam Devaha, Ayam Niranjanaha Devaha. So this Deva, this self-effulgent being, which is I. There is only one self-effulgent being. Don't look around. Where is this self-effulgent being? Deva means the head flies up, in certain traditions. Upar wala. And somewhere up. Up means what? Up from what perspective? And this up, down, etc. is just completely, short. This is the whole argument, because that which is space itself is Atma. Space and time are projections of the Atma. So where is the question of up? Where up means from, see, you are somewhere in the solar system. Where is up? Where is down? Where is down? So if you look from the standpoint of something else, from the standpoint of Australia, even if you take this globe, we are all down. But then we standing here say, oh, that is down under. This is a very partial and a very strange reading of up and down. So we don't have this up-down business. Devaha means that which is Dyotanatmakaha, that which is of which shines on its own. And even when you look at the sun, there may be some black spots that are captured through some very fine telescope and telescopic cameras, but not in the Atma. No spots, nothing, no spots, nothing at all. And so the Atma should, so the Atma Devaha, so this self-effulgent one, that has no, that has not a single stain, nothing, no affliction. Stain here means affliction. Affliction is always in terms of sorrow, fear, pain, emotional pain, all these other things, anger, kama, krodha, lobha, and any kind of angst, anxiety, all these things are called the that which sticks. This is what it is. So then that is denied immediately for this Deva, this self-effulgent being, who is entirely free of any afflictions. Anjana. Anjana must not be taken as stain here, it is metaphorical. Afflictions. So entirely free of afflictions, that is the one that is being nirupyate, that is being unfolded where? In the Bodhasara. So then this knowledge, so Devaha Niranjanaha means the Atma is being unfolded, means Atma knowledge is being unfolded. That is what we have to say. Because Atma is not a thing to be known. It is not something to be, it's not a thing to be had. It's not an object that can be objectified. You can know the object, you can know the subject, but the knowledge of the object is different from the knowledge of the subject. The knowledge of the object is through grahanam, through grasping. With what? With either the karmendriya, the organs of action, or the jnanendriya, the sense organs. There is a kind of a grasping through the sense organs also. I see it, I get it. When you say I see it, you say I got it. Got it means you saw it. So there is a grasping with the help of the sense organs. There is a grasping with the help of the organs of action. So those are called objects which are grasped by the sense organs and or by the organs of action. Vishinoti badhnati iti vishayaha. Vishayaha means that which binds. How do they bind? Because they are connected to your sense organs or the organs of action, and immediately they cause a desire for owning them. That's why they are called Vishaya. So the very interesting grammatical, the Vyutpatti derivation of the word Vishaya. So Vishaya, and then this is, so then these are called Vishaya. But the Atma is not a Vishaya. The Atma cannot be grasped by the sense organs. In fact, the only thing that cannot be grasped by the sense organ is the wielder of the sense organs, you. That's what it is. You cannot grasp by the organs of action. You cannot grasp because the Atma is not an object. It is the truth of you. It is the content of the grasper, and that which is self-effulgent. So it cannot be grasped. It cannot be objectified. And before you start feeling sorry that you cannot objectify yourself, I have to also say that it need not be objectified in order to be known. So two kinds of ways of knowing. One is called Swatas Siddha, another one is called Pramana Siddha. Swatas Siddha means that which proves itself, that which proves its own existence in the whole entire universe is you alone. You alone, nothing else, no one else. And then what else? And then the other things are Pramana Siddha. They rely on the sense organs, or directly or indirectly they rely on the sense organs through the means of knowledge called intuition, etc. So you see, in one verse he has packed so much knowledge, so much information. And so this Niranjanaha, which is Devaha, this self-shining one, free of affliction, is presented, Nirupyate, is being presented in the Bodhasara. This is the last line. Now the first line, Yatra Pravana pramanam Vedantaha. Yasya pramanam also we can take. Yasya pramanam Vedantaha. Anubhutis tatha satam. Now, the doubt can arise. After reading the last line, the doubt can arise. What is the doubt? The doubt that if there is such a thing which is Niranjana, which is free of attributes, which is free of name and form, which is free of afflictions, which is free of all dharmas, all gunas, all vishayas, everything, and which is self-effulgent, if there is such a thing, and the Bodhasara is being, tapped into, it is contained in the Bodhasara, where else is it there? Am I dependent on the Bodhasara to understand this? Or that could be one doubt. Or another doubt is that this Bodhasara is there, all right, no problem. This Bodhasara is there, I will study it and everything. But what is the guarantee that I will understand? Where is, how will I know this? So here we are given an assurance by talking about the sampradaya itself in the first line. In the first line, the sampradaya and the need for pramana, the need for Vedanta as a means of knowledge are both highlighted in the first line. Yatra pramanam Vedantaha. And as I said, yasya pramana. So the pramana for which or where the means of knowledge is Vedanta. So Vedantaika pramanam. Vedanta is the only way to go about this. And what is this Vedanta? Where is this Vedanta? Bodhasare nirupyate. This Vedanta is in the form of Bodhasara. And what is this thing called Vedanta? That which occurs at the end of the Veda. And what is it that's occurring at the end of the Veda? It's like a mystery novel. The last portion is the best because it has who done it. Who done it? You done it. That's what it is. Always the answer is the same. It's you, nothing other than you. And so there is not any kind of in a way, it's a mystery. How can I be the cause of the universe? And then there are certain, very interesting this is, there are certain mystery novels where the karta, the agent is a mystery. Like who is the one who did this, hanky panky, who did this murder? Who is the one who did this murder? This is something, or who is the one who went off with a big bank heist? Who is the author of this? And then, there is all these speculations. Was it the butler? Of course, because this is all rich people. Nobody is interested in somebody being offed from a poor family or something like that. Generally speaking, these are people who live in big mansions and they have lots of servants and domestic help and everything. So was it the butler in the pantry, or was it the maid, or was it this one? And then, horror of horrors, it turns out to be the son. Oh, why was it the eldest son? Because the father who is the victim here had changed the will, had found out that the son was no good and was engaging in all kinds of fraud and had changed the will, and the son had found that out. So this is one kind of a mystery. The identity of the person, so close to home, so close to the victim, is well guarded until the last chapter. Vedanta is not that kind of a mystery. There are certain other mysteries, all of them, who did it? But the question is, how? Where was the opportunity? Where was the motive? This person was in plain sight all along. The person never went missing. And what is that? Soundproof, shatterproof alibi. Soundproof alibi, shatterproof alibi. They were in full view of every single person. Right there they were. Right there. How could they have done this? And that is where this is Vedanta is like that. The Atma is in plain sight. All the time it is there. Always present. Never absent. And yes, it is the cause of the universe. And yes, it is you. That is the kind of a mystery Vedanta is. The author, the so-called imbued authorship is not in question. The Shastras shout, the knowers of the Shastras shout from the rooftops, the gurus, etc., in the Sampradaya. So that is not in question. The question is how this miserable I, this jiva, identified with a particular body, mind, sense complex, can be equated to Ishvara, the cause of the universe. That is the mystery. And so for that mystery to unfold, Nirupanam, for that mystery to unfold, what must be there? This is the Pramana Bhava must be there. Pramana Bhava means the understanding that this Pramana, this Vedanta, which is the Pramana, is the only way to understand. Shraddha in the Pramana. That is Pramana Bhava. Shraddha in the Pramana, because this book is the only way to find out how I am Ishvara. Yatra Pramana. This Pramana is what is the Pramana? Vedanta. This Pramana is Vedanta alone. It's a proof that is already there. We just have to wait for the proof to prove itself. That is what it is. You have to expose yourself to the proof and wait for it to prove itself. You cannot dismiss the proof before you've given it a chance. You cannot dismiss the proof before you have given it a chance. Oh, this doesn't work. Have you tried it? No. You think you have tried it. Why? Because 5 years ago I attended one class. That is not giving the chance for the proof to prove itself. And so, the Vedanta is itself a means of knowing. And that is what the truth of the Bodhasara is. And what else does the Bodhasara contain? And then Anubhutihi Tatha. Tatha means in the same manner, the Anubhuti, the experiences, the knowledge, the lived reality of what? Satam, Gurus. Of all the enlightened ones, the enlivened ones, the ones that are enlightened by this knowledge, the ones that have indeed become Niranjana as a result of exposure to this knowledge. They are indeed Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati, it is said, and so they have indeed become free of identifying with the afflictions. Afflictions are not identified with. They are identified with the truth of that which is free from afflictions, for which Vedanta is the only source of knowledge, and to which one has to succumb. Because after having tried out, tested and tried so many other upayas, nothing is working. And so here I come Bodhasara, here I come Vedanta. Why? I want to be Niranjana. I want to be free of afflictions in the same way. This is the first verse. Further, let us look at the other one. After this wonderful introduction, then the second verse talks about how does this inquiry, an inquiry start. Ahamajnyo na janami mamaham kohamityuta. Ahamajnyo na janami maham kohamityuta. Ajnana prabhavo bhavah Atma Shuddho Niranjanah Ajnana Prabhavo Bhava Atma Shuddho Niranjanah. So this is the chorus, the refrain of this Atma song or this Atma poem. Atma Shuddho Niranjanah. You'll find that at the end of every line, the last pada is the one, and this is a common practice in many Vedanta works, like even Vedanta Dindima. Dindima means proclamation. This is the proclamation of Vedanta. And so every verse says, Iti Vedanta Dindimaha. Every verse says that. Here also, Atma Shuddho Niranjanah. What is this Atma? It is Shuddha, free. Shuddha means pure, free of guilt, free of hurt, free of raga, dvesha, and tatha in the same manner, papa, punya, merits, demerits, all this totally free is this Atma, and it is Shuddha, and it is Niranjana, means any kind of an emotion that passes through the mind, body, etc., any kind of pain which passes through the body, emotions which pass through the mind, thoughts which pass through the mind, and any kinds of ideas which pass through the buddhi do not leave a lasting impression, do not leave any impression on the eye, which is free of all impressions. So that is the Atma Shuddho Niranjana, that is the refrain. So then once we understand this, we don't have to uh, look at it repeatedly in every verse. So here, how does the thing start? The inquiry start is given here. We all talk of self-ignorance, but ignorance is not a not the roadway to Vedanta. You just said self-ignorance is the roadway to Vedanta. Why are you contradicting yourself? If there is knowledge of ignorance, that is the roadway to Vedanta. Listen carefully. If I know that I do not know, then I can look for Sustam Anubhutihi, like where are the enlightened people? I can look for gurus. I can look for Vedanta book. Even if I'm waiting at a airport and look in a bookshop. Airport bookshops are very interesting. Lot of self-help, quick help, DIY. Vedanta will be there. How to get famous quickly, how to be happy. These kinds of catchy titles will be there. And so this kind of a thing, that is when I look for these quick fixes, quick or otherwise, I look for a fix when I am in a fix. And then it's not enough to be in a fix. I have to know I am in a fix and I want to fix this, fix. That is why I look for the fix called Vedanta. That is why I look for it. But then think of a scenario when the person doesn't know and doesn't know that they do not know. They know and they don't know that they don't. They don't know and they don't know that they don't know. Very sad. And that, unfortunately, is all the people who are not in this classroom or not in any classroom, in Vedanta classroom. In a way, Vedanta preaches to the choir, okay? And then and it's like teaching, it's like teaching Sare Gama to the people who already know the notes. So this is what it is. Vedanta is, what is Vedanta? Vedanta is just that it is not for the people who don't know that they do not know. If you do not know that you do not know, then we just have to say a silent prayer. We have to say, "Hey Bhagavan, Namaste Astu. Please help me to know that I do not know." So when they say, there is an adage which says ignorance is bliss. When they say ignorance is bliss, they mean ignorance of ignorance is bliss. Not knowledge of ignorance. If you know you don't know, you're the most miserable person. Whether you cannot recall the name of a restaurant where you really like the food, or the name of a movie that you want to be, which you're discussing with a friend, or the name of the friend to whom we are talking nicely, animatedly, but you forgot their name. You cannot handle it. The human mind is wired to not brook any kind of ignorance. So there is that critical point until you know that you do not know. And only when you know that you do not know, then only that is the roadway to Vedanta, as this verse is going to tell us. Aham Ajnaha. Is that knowledge or ignorance? Aham Ajnaha. I am an idiot. I am ignorant. I am ignorant is not ignorance. I am ignorance is knowledge. It is its own knowledge. I am ignorant is knowledge of being ignorant. So it is knowledge of ignorance. So aham agnaha. And aham agnaha means, of what am I ignorant? You can have two sources of ignorance. Ignorance of anatma, things that are not you, objects in the universe, and ignorance of atma, yourself. So atma ignorance and anatma ignorance are both there. Anatma ignorance, the not I ignorance, keeps dropping on its own. All you have to do is live. And then the baby in the beginning doesn't know anything. It doesn't have self knowledge. Neither does it have knowledge. This is mummy, this is daddy. It doesn't have. But slowly it understands on its own just by living. It doesn't have to read a book on who is mother, who is father. The mother ignorance drops, father ignorance drops. Sibling, this annoying one that is keeping on pinching me when nobody is looking. this is this is this is elder brother, elder sister. That is also ignorance drops. Then what? Then it goes to school and ABCD ignorance drops, and then it goes to college, and then complex ignorance about so many things in the universe. Physics ignorance drops, history ignorance drops, sociology ignorance drops, everything drops. Biochemistry ignorance drops. But what about Atma ignorance? When is that going to drop? Keep on waiting. Keep on writing. It will not drop. Why? How unfair is this? Anatma ignorance. See, anatma means it's of no consequence. So the no consequential ignorance drops, but the most consequential ignorance does not drop. What are you saying? True. But why does it not drop? Because the Atma that we are talking about, its nature is not to not oppose, to not be in opposition to anything. It is so vast that it can even tolerate and accommodate your ignorance because it is beyond ignorance and knowledge divide. That itself is a duality. So it is beyond the duality of I know and I don't know, which is connected to objects. So the subject ignorance is included in the I that is free, whose nature is free of ignorance. And so therefore, the ignorance of the I can be accommodated. It is so big that it can accommodate that. That's why it never drops on its own. So if you keep thinking, Mera bulawa aega, that I'll be called to study Vedanta, nobody is going to call you. Nobody is going to call you. The call has to come. People say this. People say this all the time. So I ask, there is one spouse is attending the classes. The other one, although very, very respectful and has lot of shraddha, lot of bhakti, is looking on from a distance. So then I say, when are you coming to the class? My call hasn't yet come. Call won't come. Yeah. Call nahi aayega. That is what it is. You have to go. You have to allow yourself the privilege of gaining this knowledge. But how do I allow myself to the privilege? First, by asking questions. Aham na janami is a statement. What kind of a statement is aham na janami? I do not know. You do not know what? It could be atma, it could be anatma. It could be both. But here, aham na janami mam. Mam is object, aham is subject. So I don't know myself. Aham mam na janami. I do not know my own self. This is the question. This is the place of beginning. Who am I? Very interesting question. And out of which the whole philosophy has been made according to Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Famous philosophy, who am I philosophy? Who am I? Am I this body that is carrying me to death? Literally scaring me to death because every day I wake up, something does not function. So if a friend asks, after the age of 50, if a friend asks, What's new? In fact, friends don't ask because they are also above 50 and they know not to ask. So what's new means what? Ayyo, it is paining here. Ayyo, it's aching over there. And one more thing I have to cross off from my diet. This week it is sugar. Last week it was fatty substances. And then next week it's going to be gluten. And then after that, somebody said, better to not eat grains at all. And so, what are you going to survive on? I thought I was a vegetarian. Now I'm a fresh airian. That's all, just fresh air. Somebody showed me some plants, very nice, beautiful, tiny plants like this. They have roots and they have very nice, intricate leaves, as though Bhagavati, the goddess, has sat down and does some intricate carving in white pencil on this green. Beautifully carved, nice, beautiful leaves. Kind of these big leaves which kind of fold over like grass. They fold over and then there is a bunch of roots. And it was hanging in the air. I literally called, they belong to the category called airplanes. And then I just had gone for Bhiksha in somebody's house. And I said, what is this? And it has no soil. How does it survive? Oh, once a week we have to wet the hands in the faucet and just go like this, prokshanam. Once a week. And that's enough for it. And I think that's where we are headed, really, in terms of all the things you cannot eat. So, first 40 years of life, food is medicine. And after 50, medicine is food. Okay, yeah, that is the thing. That is how you survive. All kinds of pills, potions, and lotions keep you going from one day to another. And so, therefore, it becomes very pertinent to ask, oh, if I am this body, I'm done in. Because I don't want to be this one full of complaints. I can't eat this, I can't eat that, this part is swollen, and I have systemic inflammation. People talk like this now. And it's true also, new things. Systemic inflammation. And then all these things. And then so what to do? Go on an anti-inflammatory diet. You should be born in Italy. Okay, that is what it is. Or Greece. That is their anti-inflammatory diet, and you have to eat this and not eat that. It's not just about the food. There is that, what is that? There is that blue zone, Mediterranean islands. Mediterranean islands, etc. This is they are. It's called the blue zone, where the average age is 95 of all the people living there. And 102-year-olds are not in nursing homes. They are tilling their own land. They are tilling their own land. 102-year-olds in this island called Ikaria, where this fellow named Icarius, who we hear in the, we have heard stories that he made wings of wax and tried to fly, and the wings melted because of the heat of the sun. And so, an early aviation pioneer. And in fact, if you go to this, island in Greece, there are these huge 2 pairs of wings dedicated to him. Very nice. So it's like a silent memorial to him, and then it is written there. It is dedicated to him. And there you go. And people are, tilling the land. They are 95 years old, and then not a single ache and pain. And so all the researchers went like flies on a piece of fruit, fruit flies. They all went and assembled there. All the scientists, all the researchers, finding out what do they eat, what makes them tick. Okay, no problem. Find out what they eat and make your diet the same. No problem at all. But that's not all, is there? And we have to also see how the people live, because it's not just about what you eat. It's about how, living there in that small island and not having much stress is a very different thing than how we have made our lives completely unrecognizable. from how it was with the case of the ancestors. So that is the idea. So it's like the point is not to live till you are 110 or whatever it is, and vie for the Guinness Book of the oldest person record. That's not the point. The point is to understand that, see, which is easier? Is it easier to mimic the blue zone diet and get frustrated that you're not still getting all the results? Or is it easier to understand that despite living in a body and a mind which is which can be best described as on the brink of extinction, loda loda, always it is going, it's not even able to keep itself going, that kind of a body, shaky mind. I am still free. That is a better way. That is a better way. Keep your running. You can go on a vacation to Italy and Greece, no problem. There is no problem in that. But keep your money and for free, understand that you are not the sum total of the body, mind, sense complex. Body is important because you have to gain moksha. It is moksha yatana. It is a vehicle for moksha. So you keep it going. Yes, eat the blue zone diet. No problem. Eat that. Eat that till the cows come home. I have no objection to that. But the point is to take the focus off of that which is finite and understand yourself as infinite. So, koham iti, am I the body? Am I this mind that is completely falling apart? And these are the questions. Ajnana prabhavaha. Prabhavaha means born of, ajnanam. These are born of ajnanam. Bhavaha. Bhavaha means this state of ignorance. This state of self-ignorance is born, this state of not knowing who you are is indeed the product of ignorance. And it has nothing to do with the I. That is Shuddhaha, that is Niranjanaha. Next one. Yadiyam Brahma Vishaya Jivasya Dhyayata Midmatihi. Yadiyam Brahma Vishaya Jivasya Dhyayata Matihi. Sahi Bhrantimayo Bhavaha Atma Shuddho Niranjanaha. Sahi Bhrantimayo Bhavaha Atma Shuddho Niranjanaha. Yat Yat Iyam. Yat Iyam. This Iyam means this. What is this? This Matihi. This thinking. Matihi thinking. This Matihi. If. Yat means if. Yat, this Matihi. This kind of a thinking. This kind of a buddhi. What buddhi? Brahma Vishaya Dhyayata Matihi. Brahma Vishaya Dhyayata. That the topic of Brahman is an object for worship, is an object for contemplation, dhyanam, but not what? Jnanam. That's the idea. So this topic of Brahma Vishaya Matihi Dhyayata iti. So if somebody is thinking, because the next it's going very nicely, it's unfolding. First is the powerful recognition that I am ignorant. I am knowledgeable of my ignorance. What kind of ignorance? Not anatma ignorance, atma ignorance. And so I have to ask the proper question, who am I? And understand that this ajnanam is the reason for all my troubles, and it has nothing to do with the nature of the I, which is free of all afflictions. Then we have to understand, how is this knowledge gained? How is this knowledge gained? So somebody will say, I have to sit and meditate on Atma. I have to sit down and say, Atma, Atma, Atma. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who is asking who am I? The one who knows or the one who doesn't know? Naturally, the one who doesn't know is asking. So the one who doesn't know is asking, who am I? What answer will come? idiot. That's the answer that will come, because that's what everybody had called this person in childhood. Donkey, monkey. This is the answer that will come. And so therefore, suddenly the answer will not come, because that answer one is not familiar with at all. So therefore, the seeking has to be done. And the right seeking and the improper seeking is given here. In fact, the right seeking is not given. The improper seeking is outed so that one understands what is the correct way, what is the wrong way to do this. And so the correct way is understood. So then, yadiyam brahma vishaya dhyeyata. So brahma vishaya dhyeyata iti matihi. So when one's thinking goes towards Atma as an object of contemplation, like even Ishvara is an object of contemplation, but the Atma is not an object of contemplation. So that is the thing. But I thought Atma is Ishvara. Yes, Atma is Ishvara without the accoutrements of the status of being the cause of the universe. Karta, Dharta, Samharta, without this, the accoutrements of being the status of causality, the status of being able to take back, and all the 6 bhagas, etc., the 6 virtues. Without that is what is the that status comes and goes. Atma is that which, as though, wields the status without becoming one with or identified with the status. That is Atma. And similarly, on the Jiva side also, some Nirasanam has to take place, some denial, negation has to take place. And I am the body, iti, I am the mind, etc. So if Atma is an object of contemplation, it is never the subject. It is never the subject, because what you contemplate on, it is not you. It is other than you. Because there is a contemplator and the object of contemplation. And so therefore, the person who says, I will gain the Atma through meditation, is a big fool. This is the purport of the next verse. Yadiyam Brahma Vishaya. The topic is Brahman. And then Dhyeyata Matihi. This Brahma Vishaya is Dhyeyata, is fit for, has got the characteristics of being able to be arrived at by contemplation. This kind of a thinking, what does Narahari say to that? Sahi Bhrantimayo Bhavaha. It's the greatest of delusion. Bhranti means delusion. From Brahm, to wander around aimlessly. So here one is wandering around aimlessly in the spiritual realm without knowing how to go about it, without a map. Guru is map, Pramana, the book is the map, Vedanta is the map, but without the GPS coordinates here. GPS means Guru Paduka Stotram. Okay, yeah. So without the GPS coordinates, one is wandering around endlessly, tired, going round and round. I think I've been here. Yes, you were here just last lifetime. Bhagavan is tearing his hair out in clumps. That's why they all have kiritas. They all have crowns so that they don't get frustrated. Okay, yeah. Because yes, you were here last life. Nothing has changed. You are back here again doing the same mistakes. And even in this life, there are so many deja vus. Everything is a deja vu. You've been here, done that, been here, done that. How long will you keep using and doing the same mistakes of using the wrong methods to get the understanding of yourself? To get rid of this misery, how long will you just be satisfied with trying to buy band-aids when the problem is as big as the Grand Canyon? You cannot put a band-aid on a chasm like the Grand Canyon. What are you doing over here? Bhagavan is shouting, but still this person thinks that Brahma Vishaya Dhyaya, that this Brahman I can somehow get through just sitting in meditation. I can meditate it out. And that it is the nature of the meditator, and it is that which is the truth of the object and the subject is not understood. So that is Bhrantimayo Bhavaha. This state is of the greatest of delusion. So this Mayat is here Prachuryarthe, full of Bhranti, not Vikararthe, because Bhranti itself is a Vikara, is a modification. So Prachurya means a preponderance of Bhranti. And then there may be a small sliver of hope, a tiny sliver of interruption there. Maybe I can overcome this. And that possibility is left. That's why it is a preponderance of Bhranti. Bhrantimayo bhavaha. And it has nothing to do with the Atma, which is Shuddhaha and Niranjanaha. Next one. त्रिभिर्गुणैर्निबद्धोऽहम् संसारे संसाराम्यहम् त्रिभिर्गुणैर्निबद्धोऽहम् संसारे संसाराम्यहम् इत्याद्याः प्राकृता आत्मा शुद्धो निरञ्जनः इत्याद्याः प्राकृता आत्मा शुद्धो निरञ्जनः. One more delusion is being dispelled here. What is this one? Tribhihi. By the three. By the three what? Gunaihi. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. We'll just see the, what's its name? The translation. Next time we will see the meaning. So, by this Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, the three gunas, I am bound, nibaddhoham. Nobody escapes the gunas. And people will say this, even the jnani occasionally gets angry. So what are you talking about? Nobody does this. Nobody is free of this. And so therefore, what am I? Samsarami. Samsare. I am swimming. Read. Actually, it should be read as sinking in samsara. I am somehow sinking or swimming, sometimes swimming, sometimes sinking in samsara. Samsara, I'm just keeping on going and keeping it going. That's why you ask anybody, how is life? Chalta hai. It is going in any language. You take any language, Hindi, Kannada, Tamil, anything, Bhojpuri, chalta hai. ठीक है, it's okay. Everything, nobody says it's wonderful. It's okay. What do you mean? How is the job? It's okay. Meaning, the pay is good, but the boss is a control freak. Okay? Yeah, so. Chalta hai. It's okay. So how is the children? The speed increases a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, they are, we know, most of the time we know where they are. That's a good thing. But then they are in their teenage. That's not a very good thing because they have their own ideas of how to live life. And then finally, how is your marriage? Then you develop a tremor, has to go very, very fast. Don't ask. So this is every situation. Every situation is just this much alone. And so then what is that? This is the feeling. No hope. I have to be in samsara only. Samsaramyaham, somehow I'm going on, dragging myself. And with great difficulty and with hopelessness. So he says all this is animalistic thinking. Prakritaha bhavaha. Prakritav bhavaha. Animalistic thinking. This is the animalistic means this is left over from previous kinds of, previous samskaras. This is not befitting you who have now taken birth in the human body. Why? Whose only purpose is to know Atma Shuddho Niranjana. So don't waste your life and then see that these three gunas are also a spoof and they are only as though binding, never really binding. Very nice section. More we'll see next time. The question is, when is next time? Let me look at the calendar and then get back to you immediately about that. 2 weeks from now, 14th of May, is that correct? No, 13th of May. Yeah, correct. So that 13th, 14th weekend, this class will meet again. All right. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.